What's going on, everybody? We're here with the family, getting ready to go to Vegas. We're going to be testing out the R50V, and we're going to get some good footage. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Canon R50V. Not the regular R50, but the new vlogging focused version. I ended up getting it because I was going to Vegas and Sedona. I went ahead and tested it super hard. From that blazing heat to the late night street shot, I wanted to see what this camera is really about. In the box, you get the Canon R50 body, the new RFS 14 to 30 millimeter power zoom lens, a battery, charger, and the usual paperwork. As someone who used the original R50, I can say this version feels way more refined. The body has a sleek, rounded, square vibe, and I'm definitely digging that. On the back, you'll see that you have the menu button, the multi-directional D-pad used for navigating. You get the autofocus on off button. This is a lovely feature, especially for us photographers. And you get a rear dial for quick setting changes. You'll see on the back there's also a new button called color. We'll get into that a little later. The new feature that you get on the Canon R50V is the new power zoom rocker. It is pressure sensitive for fast and smooth zooms from lenses that have the power zoom feature. On the side, you get the standard 3.5 millimeter mic input, the micro HDMI, and the USB-C. Now let's get to the bottom of the R50V. Here we have the 1/4 inch tripod mount. You got the battery door that holds the LPE17 battery and the SD card. The right hand side of the Canon R50V, you'll notice that there is also a 1/4 inch thread which allows you to mount to a tripod vertically. So for anybody who is vlogging with a GorillaPod or something like that, this makes mounting very easy. Now let's get to the overall size, build, and the portability of the R50V. The R50V weighs at about 370 grams. With the kit lens, it's actually under 1.2 pounds. That is super light. Pretty much the main reason why I grabbed it, because I wanted something light, wanted something portable, and this was that camera. I thought it was going to be made of all plastic, but it's actually built pretty well. It's built with a kind of magnesium and aluminum alloy, so it doesn't really feel cheap at all. It's pretty solid in my opinion. I ended up packing the R50V in my 3-liter Peak Design bag with a 35 millimeter lens and a GorillaPod, and I still had some space. Carried it through the airports, hiking. I barely noticed it was there. I want to talk about the ergonomics because ergonomics is a big factor into me choosing a camera. It's actually why I ended up going with the Canon lineup, because they had that thumb grip that was extra comfortable. With the R50V, the grip totally surprised me. I thought it might cramp my hands because of how small it was, but it actually felt great. It has a very deep groove. It has a very deep grip and a very comfortable thumb rest that's located on the right-hand side. Overall, the camera feels really good in the hands. It's not heavy at all. The layout is also super intuitive for one-hand use. After shooting all day, I didn't feel any hand fatigue at all. Somebody who shoots with a Canon R5 with a 24 to 70, you know very well that that could be very heavy. So having something this light was absolutely wonderful. Part of the ergonomics is the button layout, and having the front record button is absolutely a sweet spot for vlogging. And the touchscreen is also very responsive. Somebody who had the Canon R50, it is very nice to see that they added the autofocus button. Shout out to Canon. In addition to the button layout being very comfortable and easy to get to, you also get that red tally light on the top right hand corner and the fully articulated screen. So that is something that I think is a game changer for creators. So you now know when you're actually recording. The camera's packing a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, which is the same exact one that the R10 and the R50. Canon's JPEGs straight out of camera are absolutely gorgeous. During my time in Sedona, the reds definitely popped out and the colors in Vegas were all beautiful. The skin tones were great as well. I even managed to pull off a handheld night shot that looked pretty solid. And on top of that, if you shoot raw, you've got room to recover highlights and shadows pretty easily. I want to talk about the autofocus because the autofocus was actually pretty solid on this camera. A lot of the magic comes from Canon's dual pixel autofocus system, which is tied to the DJI processor. So while the lens plays a significant role in speed and accuracy, most of what makes autofocus on the R50V comes from the actual camera itself, not just the lens. I noticed eye detection, fast tracking, all of it works surprisingly well, even when you have a fast moving subject. Let's take a brief moment and address the elephant in the room. It's a big elephant, might be the biggest elephant I've ever seen actually. The lack of the EVF. You probably saw it, probably didn't. If you're a photographer, you saw it. There's no EVF. The EVF has been removed. They kicked it to the curb. They said, we don't want it on this R50V lineup. We want to make this as small as possible, which is significant for people who like to shoot still. Now, one thing that happened to me that I thought was hilarious was I kept putting my eye up to the camera to shoot just out of habit. It took a few days to adjust, but after a while, using the screen felt pretty natural. But of course, in bright sunlight, I totally missed the viewfinder. Let's get into what this camera's made for. Video. With the Canon R50V, this is what you're getting. You are getting 4K 30p oversampled with no crop, 4K 60p. However, this comes at a 1.6 times crop. You get 1080p up to 120 FPS. This is found in the slow and fast mode. You get the wide cinematic mode with the baked in letterbox bar. You get the creative recipes, which is kind of like Fujifilm's recipes where you can change the color and aesthetic of your video. You get C-Log 3 for optimal color grading. Also, you get some custom LUT import, and of course the tally light and the front record button. During my time in Sedona in Vegas, I played a lot with the color recipes. My go-to color profile was the tasty warm profile. I thought it matched the warm tones that I usually go for. It felt great having that in there. Sometimes you don't want to throw your videos into a video editing software and color grade. So I found baked in profiles, very nice feature for people who don't like to color grade. Just a heads up, all of the color profiles that you choose are actually permanent. They're baked in. There's no way to correct it in post. I actually found that out the hard way because I shot one clip with the red filter and yeah, it was a huge regret. There was weird colors, the highlights were blown out. I'll show you that video right now actually. You get the slow and fast mode, which gives you slow or fast motion, which is great for B-roll, but it disables audio and color recipes. So make sure you plan ahead how you want your videos to be before you actually do it. Cinematic mode adds that film look by adding the black letterbox to your frame and also applies a preset grade. So it is to be noted that here, you actually don't get C-Log or any of the color profiles. One thing I will say that was a little difficult with the R50V was that I ended up accidentally in SNF mode more times than I actually had anticipated. I painfully hiked the Cathedral Rock in Sedona and I captured this breathtaking moment where I'm looking at the landscape, and later that day I went to review my footage and I noticed it was fast. So it's just a video of me panning super fast. Unfortunately, there's no way to slow it down, which is super unfortunate. So just watch out for that. Another thing worth mentioning is the rolling shutter. It's moderate and definitely manageable. You might notice some wobble during fast pans or sudden movement, especially in 4K 60 FPS. But for most vlogging and general use, it's not a deal breaker. Just be aware of it in case you're planning to get those quick action shots. The dynamic range is good, especially if you're shooting in C-Log 3. This gives you some more flexibility in post. While there's no in-body stabilization, shame on you, Canon. The digital image stabilization does help a bit if you're walking and filming. Know that it crops in a little bit when you're using it. Let's talk about the kit lens that the R50V comes with. This is the Canon RF 14-30 power zoom. One thing I really enjoyed about the 14-30 was it was buttery smooth and silent. The kit lens is absolutely legit for vlogging. I found that the 14mm focal length is perfect for wide angles and selfies, sharp across the frame, especially at the wide end. However, it is to be noted that it is a variable aperture lens, so in low light it struggles. Zooming in past 20mm and you'll notice a lot more noise. Especially at f4, you don't get a lot of background separation as the bokeh is pretty minimal. If you plan to shoot video at a shutter speed of 1/50, especially in daylight, make sure that you grab an ND filter because the Arizona sun, it got me. For the weight, size, and the convenience, I think it's a pretty solid starting lens. The next thing I wanted to test was the built-in microphone. The built-in mic is okay. It's got wind filtering, but it still grabbed way too much background noise on the street and picked up a lot of wind and overall ambient noise.
This is the R50V. I'm testing out the audio quality. This is without any additional microphones. Over here, there is a slight waterfall that's built into the pool. And I recorded some earlier videos and I noticed that the R50 didn't really cut out too much of that noise. So now we are at a less noisy area. So
I think it's fine for the casual stuff, but I definitely recommend using an external mic if you're looking for anything serious. Canon and heat do not mix. We know the history. R50 held up pretty well. I actually shot a short clip of me and my wife at the Vegas sign in direct sun. I'll have to say it got warm really fast, especially shooting at 4K 60, but it never shut down or lag. I would definitely recommend monitoring that, especially if you're shooting in hotter conditions. The R50V uses Canon's LPE17, which is a pretty small battery and gets you average 40 to 50 minutes of mixed shooting. I would definitely recommend investing in some extra batteries just in case. Of course, with every camera on the market, you're gonna have some pros and you're gonna have some cons. So here are some of the pros that I like about the Canon R50. It was super compact and super lightweight. Canon's classic color science, which is great, especially for skin tones. I found it was very sharp. I enjoyed having the dual tripod threads, landscape one and the vertical one. I really enjoyed the front record button and the tally light as well. The R50V has a very comfortable grip, and of course, as a stills photographer, enjoyed having the back button autofocus. I don't think I can shoot without back button focus. You also get Canon's C-Log 3 and the ability to import your own LUTs, which is pretty cool for those who want their aesthetic built into the camera. Lastly, you get access to Canon's full RF lineup, which is great for people who want that flexibility of being able to upgrade in the future. Now let's get to some of the cons. The biggest problem with a lot of these new entry-level cameras is none of them seem to have IBIS or in-body image stabilization. So if you're doing a lot of walking and talking, you're probably gonna get a lot of shaking. That was something that I found a lot in my videos. Even with the GorillaPod, there was some shaking, but it was significantly better. So I would recommend using some sort of tripod that you can kind of extend outward. Of course, as a stills photographer, there is no EVF. I also found that the built-in microphone wasn't all that great. I also didn't like that a lot of the built-in features of the camera are all baked in. The creative recipes, the slow and fast, and the cinematic mode. It would be cool to go into your software in post and add those recipes later or change it kind of like how Fujifilm does. So it's all baked in. The battery life is just okay with 45 minutes to an hour of mixed shooting. I don't expect there to be a very large battery because that would compromise the overall form factor of the R50V, which is compact and light. I'll have to say that the R50V is easily one of the best vlogging cameras under $1,000 now. It is absolutely stacked with features, especially for content creators and vloggers, even people who are looking to get into video. Although the camera was built with vloggers and creators in mind, I found that the R50V also works surprisingly well for people who like to take photographs, such as myself. I found it very lightweight, flexible, and it was honestly a lot of fun. The lack of EVF helped me find and create new compositions that I probably wouldn't have ever tried if I had the EVF. If you're looking to get into the Canon RF system or want to create your first travel camera, this is definitely a great way in. If this video helped you out, please make sure and smash that like button, drop your thoughts down below, and hit the subscribe button if you want some more real world gear reviews.
It's 3:45 p.m. We're about to go out. This is my second drink, and I will not be going to sleep early or at the show or at any function that we choose to go to tonight. I will be 100% awake till we get back home.
Look at his wife's eyes.